Alright. We have here the assassin of the cutthroat variety. Let's start at the beginning. We'll work our way to the promotion class. Let's see what spec we have here. We always start out with backstab. It is amazing. A lot of extra damage when we hit from behind our target, 800%. Base damage is a little bit low, but you know, it's about hitting from behind. And we get in the zone a passive that increases our power efficiency. Since we don't really have any resources, power efficiency just means cooldowns. And we get 10% damage bonus when we're attacking from behind. Two of the passives in here. Basic attack damage, crit strike, all of the good stuff, a lot of dex. Up here we have a Shiv. You can do two things with Shiv, a Sep Strike or a Septic Strike. So slow the target or apply a Black Mantle. A Black Mantle effect stops 500 healing. It's just a one-time use, but could be alright. And it applies instant poison to our attacks for 25 seconds. We're not doing a lot with poison in this build, but it does add a little bit extra damage on our basic attacks. We have a kidney shot in here, very straightforward. It is just a stun for spending pips and it deals damage. More pips you spend, the longer you stun. Recon down here applies the exposed debuff on targets, which does nothing on its own, but other abilities get to take advantage of that. Up here, more stats. Very good one, backstab damage, backstab crit, etc. We have a disengage in here. It allows you to jump away from a target and then you get to re-engage and jump back, generating pips and increasing your damage bonus as well. We have in here dirty tricks, good little CC. It blinds the targets and deals damage, or if they are exposed, it is a knockdown instead. It generates a pip as well. Efficient poisons in here. It's just kind of a way of getting to the other side of the tree, but it gives a poison damage stacking buff. And not super relevant, but a little bit of extra damage on the poison that we're applying. Then Blink Step, which is a teleport forward, you know, or backwards, depending where your target is. It deals some damage, generates a pip, but it's a nice gap closer. Then the Cutthroat promotion class, we are a melee damage guy. We get 10% physical, armor pen, and extra attack power. We get to use axes, daggers, and maces. I think you always kind of want to use daggers because they're very lightweight, low cooldowns, but it's up to personal preference. We have Kidney Shot that gets a barrier when we activate it. So the stun, it will give us a shield. In the zone is our self buff, increasing our damage and power efficiency. Now gives movement speed as well. And backstab has the cooldown reduced and is always treated as from behind, regardless of my position. So that is good, right? We have up here the bloodthirsty passive power. We gain a stacking 3% damage bonus buff for 15 seconds when we attack an enemy from behind. Stacks to 5. And we have here Decimate, which is a pip spender that deals a lot of damage depending on how many pips we have spent. If we use it on exposed target, we refund 2 pips. And then in here, just more passive damage things. I did not take any of the specific domains in here because I really like the discs that were available to us. So we have Waylayer as our major disc in here. It is a cheap shot. It gives us a stun attack from stealth for 5 seconds, and it is unaffected by stun reducing effects. So it is always just a 5-second stun, plus a 10% damage bonus, 2 abilities used in stealth, and the first attack after we exit stealth. We got Master of Daggers in here. There's a cripple attack. If the 2-part attack, if our target is poisoned, their attack power is reduced. Not very relevant. The attack itself, the passive is more important. It increases our crit damage by 25% for 6 seconds after being removed from stealth. So I've tried to turn this into a real assassin. You dip out of stealth and you try to kill someone. The minors that we have, Careless Whisper, when we use basic attacks, we get a stack. If we stack it up to 5 in 12 seconds, we increase our crit strike by 10 and crit damage by 10% for 7 seconds. And an active buff in here, Glamour Weapon, increases our attack power by 150 for 45 seconds. Those are the skills. I have gone full glass cannon. That means maxed out dex and put the rest into intellect for crit strike and crit damage. The way that this plays, I can show you. Let's just do the skills individually first, and then we'll go over a bit of a rotation here. Our number 1 ability is our gap closer. That looks like that, and you just teleports to your target, hits them. Number 2 is the backstab, which doesn't look very fancy, it just stabs. Number 3 is the decimate. Bomb, big hits, big damage. On number 4 we have the sap strike or the septic strike. We get to slow or apply black mantle. Then number 5 is our disengage and our re-engage. You get to bamboozle your enemy. Number 6 is the blind, or if the target is exposed, it is a knockdown. Number 7 is our kidney shot, stun, scaling with pips spent. And 8 is the crippling stab that will debuff enemy attack power. And then on 9 and 0 we have our buffs. I'm not going to use those because the cooldowns are a little bit longer. So I can show out a bit of the rotation of how this plays. Let's dip into stealth. And then we have a couple abilities here. We can either open up with a backstab, with the blink step, or with a kidney shot. I think you always want to open up with the kidney shot because all these other things remove you from stealth, except for the exposed debuff, this one. That keeps you in stealth, so you can expose a target and stay in stealth. But the rotation I have in mind is you expose a target first, get that debuff on there, so you get your other abilities get to take advantage of that. Then you stun them with a kidney shot. You instantly slap him with the backstab because it gets bonus damage. You use your buffs, your glamour weapon, you're in the zone. You do this as fast as you can, right? The first backstab that you hit, you can expect them not to react to the stun yet, because that goes really quick. But they are going to be stunned. There is an assassin on them. You can expect people to use their ultimate here or retaliate functions. So you don't really want to waste any cooldowns at that point. So you just surprise them, you ambush them, you hit them with a big backstab because of the damage bonuses that we have. Then we just disengage, and then we re-engage after their ult is up. You always have to adapt to your opponent when they're ulting, when they're retaliating, when they are CCable, etc. But you can expect people to be ulting when you open up with your first stun. So that's why I like the popping of the buffs first and then engaging and disengaging. When you get back into the fight, we use our knockdown. That doesn't cost any pips to re-CC our target again. Then we go in for a backstab and a big old decimate. Apply a slow with a sap strike. Couple basic attacks to get our pips up. Hit them with the kidney shot and new stun. An attack or two for pips. Hit them with the backstab and then hit them with the decimate again. Then it's time to get out of there, disengage, and build away. That is kind of the rotation I have in mind for assassinating targets in here. Like, you can always keep an eye out for people that are using their ults and don't have stamina, and try to assassinate them a good old-fashioned way. If you know they don't have any cooldowns up, it becomes easier. But this is a rotation that I figured out. That is generally how it's going to play out. So you have to keep in mind when people are ulting and when you're using your burst. So when we do that a little bit faster, it's going to look like this. Expose a guy, stun, insta backstab, buffs up, disengage, wait a little bit, re-engage, new stun, backstab, decimate, sap strike, buffs up, one auto, stun again, auto, backstab, auto, auto, decimate, disengage, ult out. If things go well, that is a good rotation, but if people have multiple stacks of their ult, you need to pull some punches, you need to wait on some cooldowns, just auto attack as a bit of a filler, but that's kind of how I envision this assassin to play. I think it's a lot of fun. You do need to adapt to your opponents a lot to see what they're doing when they're vulnerable. You don't have a lot of raid utility. The utility that you have as the assassin is just being able to pick out targets that are low on resources, low on life, low on ultimates, or are just completely mispositioned in a raid. That is kind of the job that you have. or just going for some objective sneakily, like trebuchets and stuff like that during sieges. But no group utility, but just an assassin, right? That is his utility, and that could be good enough.